Yes guys, welcome back to another video. I can already see what's going to happen here. I can hear you typing out your comments now. George is wearing a red shirt. He's put N'Golo Kante should be sold in the title. He must already be in Amsterdam on some of the good stuff. I can assure you, we're not quite there yet. But there's also going to be a debate within this video. The title is why Chelsea should sell N'Golo Kante. It's a bit of a shocking one, and the discussion is based off of interest from Real Madrid and Juventus, and N'Golo Kante's age, his injury problems, the midfielders we've got. We're going to address today whether or not Chelsea should sell N'Golo Kante. Now, initially off the bat, if we don't really think about the longer term benefits, maybe, of selling Kante at this point, it's a crazy idea to think that one season after selling our number one player, Eden Hazard, one of our world-class players, it's lunacy to even consider selling probably the only standout world-class player left at the club. That was the thought process at the beginning of the season, before we saw a conglomerate of injuries for N'Golo Kante. He's getting every single injury he can possibly get at the moment, and it's a real shame because when N'Golo Kante plays for Chelsea, there's an evident shift in gear in terms of the quality that we're able to produce on the field. When Real Madrid come knocking on the door, it enables Chelsea to be able to actually ask for more money because we know that Real Madrid have got deep enough pockets to be able to dip in to steal our best players. We sold Thibaut Courtois to Real Madrid. We sold Eden Hazard to Real Madrid. That was a transfer that we could always see coming. It was just a matter of if and when. And I think that any Chelsea fan who really thought Eden Hazard was going to stay, like I did until the end of his career, it was more like a wishful thinking, hopeful thing rather than any real logical judgment. N'Golo Kante, on the other hand, is very different to Eden Hazard in the sense that Kante is a very shy individual. He very rarely publicises anything other than his abilities and qualities on the football field. So we don't really hear of Kante flirting with any moves to any of the big European clubs. So whenever there is speculation, it's very difficult to really know whether the player wants it, whether the club would even consider it. Then there's also us, people like me that make YouTube videos, and people like yourselves who comment on those videos with our opinions as to whether or not we think it's a good idea. So let's take a look at the argument that would suggest that we should sell N'Golo Kante to Real Madrid or Juventus. Realistically, they're probably the only two teams that would afford him. There's also Paris Saint-Germain, but Paris Saint-Germain are probably trying to deal with the Neymar issue, and then how do they replace Neymar? Kante's clearly not an easy step in for that one. So let's just use Real Madrid and Juventus and the ballpark figures of 120 to 150 million pounds, which is an astronomical sum of money that Chelsea could get for N'Golo Kante. This is the argument for actually going ahead and doing that. So N'Golo Kante is currently 28 years of age. He turns 29 in March. What kind of player is N'Golo Kante? Well, my good friend Jan, Football Therapy, you guys probably know who that is, he actually put out a tweet that really sparked my idea to make this video, stating that with the way that Kante plays, with this high energy, always getting into the crunching tackles, playing literally out of his skin for 90 minutes whenever he's on the field. This kind of energy from a midfielder in his position probably means that he's not going to be able, due to his physical size, for example, he's not going to be able to maintain this kind of level of intensity when he's on the football field until he's 34, 35 years old. N'Golo Kante is very much a player who plays off of the opponents by creating pressure himself and then soaking it up and then dealing with it in other ways. We've seen him develop more of an attacking style now. So N'Golo Kante does virtually everything that he possibly can as a central midfielder on the pitch for Chelsea and also France. Now, at the age of 28, almost 29, when we're talking about hundreds of millions of pounds, there's only really probably 24 months that Chelsea could ever even consider commanding this sum of money for a player of that age. Bearing in mind what I've just said as well, in terms of the way that Kante plays and whether or not he can sustain that into his mid-30s, we're probably looking at maybe the next year in order to be able to get this kind of money from Kante. And at the same time, if you add all of these hypothetical things about can he actually sustain this kind of quality for that many years, add the fact that injuries are now beginning to be seen in N'Golo Kante. He's getting little knocks here, he's getting little knocks there. Before that, he didn't really have any major injuries, and now he's getting injured from everything. And you could say that this might be a result of the way that he plays and the way he has played since arriving in the Premier League, a very physical league, and he's got himself straight in at the deep end. And it could be a case now that he is going to start picking up more injuries, because he got away with it, even though considering the way he plays and all the tackles he goes in for, he never really picked up any crazy injuries, and we're only now seeing that N'Golo Kante is injured. Now, whenever he gets brought back into the Chelsea side, we're only really seeing him play for 1 or 2 matches before there's another issue. This might just be a current thing, a bit of bad luck, where he does keep picking stuff up because he's not quite fully recovering, and maybe because of his attitude in terms of he doesn't like to ever cause a fuss, he just wants to play football. He's not quite telling everybody everything that he needs to say in order to actually say, look, I actually need a little bit of a break. I keep getting these injuries because I'm going out on the pitch and I'm not fully fit. We don't really know what the reason is for all of these little niggles that N'Golo Kante keeps putting up and getting. So at this point in time, that argument of could we just cash in on a player who, if we're going with the arguments we've just stated, might not be able to sustain the level of intensity that he plays at, which is his evident quality, he's not going to be able to sustain that for any more than, say, 3 or 4 more years, then maybe Chelsea could cash in now. Now, do I believe in this? I am currently the man who is sat at the front of the courtroom, listening to the for, listening to the against the accused, even though Kante's done nothing wrong, by the way. I'm just going to save my opinion till later on. We're also going to look at the debate, which is, do we have enough strength in depth in order to facilitate the sale of N'Golo Kante? Now, as you can see on the 2 graphics that keep interchanging now, I've put up 10 players that currently play in central positions for Chelsea. The 2 that don't really count are Mason Mount and Christian Pulisic because they're more advanced. But on the other hand, you got your Ross Barkleys, you got your Kovacic, your Jorginho, your Billy Gilmore, your Bakayoko, your Ampadu, and your Conor Gallagher, who's currently on loan at Charlton. And you're looking at these players right now, before Chelsea have even dipped their hands into their pockets to maybe sign more midfielders. Can't forget Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I can't believe I just mentioned his name. Didn't mention his name there, sorry. There is an abundance of central midfielders right now at Chelsea, and it is without doubt our strongest position, where even if we do have multiple injuries, which we've had so far this season, and we've got quality players out on loan, there's still so many players to choose from in this position. Now, if you look at what happened at the weekend against Newcastle, Kovacic came on for Barkley, who picked up a little ankle injury. Between him and Jorginho, they ran the show in the middle of the park for Chelsea. This is without N'Golo Kante, who at the start of the season, everybody thought if Chelsea don't have N'Golo, we're not going to be able to do anything. But the case is, at the moment, we've only got Kante for 1 odd game here and there, yet the trajectory is still looking very positive for Chelsea. We're still getting results, we're playing some really nice football, and we're also grinding out wins when we need to as well. Basically, Lille away, Newcastle at home. Those are the 2 we're referring to there. So it is evident that without N'Golo Kante, Chelsea can still be pretty decent. And looking at the players that we've got transitioning between these graphics right now, you can say that we've got a leader for many years to come in Jorginho. Kovacic is still relatively young, and I feel as though he's really playing into the blue shirt now, and we're seeing the best out of him, and 40 million looks like an absolute steal from Real Madrid. So again, if we're talking about this Real Madrid link, we've sold Hazard, we've bought Kovacic, there's clearly a good little link between the clubs. So I think Real Madrid will know that if hypothetically, Chelsea were looking to sell Kante, they're not going to be able to get him at a cut price. He's still got a few years left on his contract. He seems to love it at Chelsea, and I genuinely do feel as though Kante might have one more big move left in him during his career. But again, it's so hard to say any of this with any real substance because we never really hear him complain. And as far as I'm concerned, the man is very, very happy at Chelsea. So when you look at the likes of Billy Gilmore, Ethan Ampadu, Conor Gallagher, who are so young, and it would be absolutely crazy for me to even sit here and say, yeah, they can fill in N'Golo Kante's boots, that would be a lunatic statement to make at this point in time, because the facts are, N'Golo Kante, in my opinion, and I am going to start coming off the fence here, N'Golo Kante is the best ball-winning midfielder in the world. Not only that, I feel as though we've not even seen Kante at his peak as of yet because of the new offensive strategies that he's implementing tactically into his game. We're seeing him improve on that, particularly over the last 18 months or so, and I think that if he can get these little injuries that we've seen recently to one side, I think we're going to see Kante level up in terms of his quality as a world-class footballer again. I genuinely feel with this new offensive side to his game, he could probably bag like maybe 10 goals in all competitions, and start adding some assists as well, which some people may disagree with that, but he's already got a couple so far this season, and he's not even played the majority of matches for us. So if we move away from the debate to sell N'Golo Kante, this is where I jump off of the table and I start to defend as if I'm in a courtroom. I personally believe that it would be absolutely crazy to sell N'Golo Kante. From a financial standpoint, we don't need the money right now, and if I bring these graphics back up here, there's players like probably Ross Barkley, Bakayoko, that between the two of them, Chelsea could probably get 60 to 70 million in total. I think particularly with Ross Barkley, we got him at an absolute steal as an English player at 15 million. If he keeps getting enough minutes this season, like we've seen, Frank Lampard isn't afraid to use him. He did get an injury in the game against Newcastle and he came off, and Kovacic, he looked the real deal. So I think in terms of, with Ruben Loftus-Cheek coming back, Ross Barkley is going further and further down that pecking order, and Frank Lampard's top choices really in the middle of the park. So we could offload Ross Barkley, we could offload Bakayoko, get 60 to 70 million in the pocket for the sale of those two players, and then why on earth would we ever need to sell N'Golo Kante, considering the money that's in the bank, considering the transfer ban, considering the quality of the youth players coming through? Chelsea are not in a position where we need to offload talent to build the funds and balance the books. It's not something we need to do. So, in my opinion, a player as good as N'Golo Kante, it's an absolute no-brainer that Chelsea need to do everything we possibly can in order to keep this guy at the club. When Juventus and Real Madrid come knocking on the door, it's obvious that a player's head is going to be turned. It would, you know, I don't think there's many players in world football who, if Real Madrid are like, yeah, you're right, mate, we want to give you 400 grand a week and we're going to sign you for 120 mil. I don't think anyone's going to not even, like, at least raise the eyebrow and nod their head at it. Do you know what I mean? I think Kante's very happy at Chelsea. All of the things I mentioned before about his age and his injuries and will he be able to sustain this kind of level of performance due to the way he plays and his stature as a human being, all of these things are hypothetical. They're all things that we don't actually have answers to. We don't know whether these injuries are simply a case of Kante's played too much football and he's worn his body out. We don't know. All of these things, they're all up in the air. And my view is that it doesn't matter whether 150 million is down on the table, I would not sell N'Golo Kante. He's probably my favourite Chelsea player at this moment in time. I do love a bit of Ruben, do love a bit of Jorginho, Mason Mount, Hudson. I flipping love our team, I'm not going to lie. I think we've got a class team moving forward. And if N'Golo Kante is fit, I always feel as though he's the first name on the team sheet and we build the rest of the team around him and his defensive qualities and his offensive qualities moving forward in the future. So that is the debate. I felt as though it did need to be addressed because obviously we're seeing very good midfield performances right now from Jorginho, from Kovacic. Ruben, his return is just around the corner. He was at Stamford Bridge at the weekend and everyone's getting excited for his return. I think that if we're talking about a three in the middle, it's probably going to be Kante, Jorginho and Ruben on the left. If that's what we're going to go with, we have no idea. And if you haven't yet seen my video where we try and fit Ruben into the current Chelsea systems, then you should definitely go and check out that video. I'll leave a link to it in the description. I don't want us to sell N'Golo Kante. I don't think we should, but there's definitely an argument that might end up being discussed further if bids start coming in from Juventus, Real Madrid, or Paris Saint-Germain. I flipping love N'Golo Kante, and I love Chelsea. This is the final video I'm making in my office. We're heading to Amsterdam tomorrow morning. I'm going to be getting on a coach, going to, well, I'm not going all the way on a coach this time. We're not even going to bother trying that. Luton Airport, first thing tomorrow morning. Lawrence and I will be there, flying out. Expect a match preview from Ajax tomorrow. Gonna head to the stadium and film something early to get it out for you guys on the Tuesday evening, and then it's an early kickoff in the Champions League on Wednesday, so expect the match vlog straight after the game. As always, if you're not yet subscribed to the George Benson Football channel, just click the button. It's actually on the screen now. You can't click it on the screen, but it'll be just below the video. Click subscribe, hit the bell notifications if you like what you see here, hit the like button if you enjoyed this little discussion today, and as always, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Balancing out the arguments that I've given today in this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts on whether or not Chelsea should even consider selling the talisman N'Golo Kante. It's crazy, but it does have some legs, sadly. And, well, you know, it's still, I think I've rounded it up pretty well in this one. Let me know down below. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all in the Netherlands. Goodbye.